words from You Can Win to We Can Win with Sounds of Blackness. Be optimistic, folks. Don't be discouraged. You heard Amanda talking about the narrative, so we just have to be careful about that. Get out and vote. The NAACP says tell 5 people. I think you can tell more. But be sure your friends, don't take for granted people voted. Charlotte Alter here with Time Magazine with me. Gwen Moore was telling us a story. Gwen Moore, the congresswoman from Wisconsin, where Trump spoke last night, says she knew a pair of twins, Charlotte, and one of them went to vote, but didn't bother to check and see if the other one was going to vote. So one twin voted and the other one didn't. And she was using that as a point to stress the people who don't vote sometimes are the ones closest to us. We just assume everybody's going to go after work and just got to handle. Don't take anything. She said the people who are not showing up live under our homes, put their feet under our dinner table. She said some of them sleep in the bed beside us. Make sure that everybody that you know is engaged and vote. And if you can vote early in your state, please do so. Also, go to iwillvote.com and make sure that your registration is intact. A lot of monkey business going on. Now, there are also reports that some votes in Georgia are being changed. You vote Democrat, it gets changed from Republican. That's being looked into. I'm not saying that's 100% confirmed, but that's all over the internet right now. So hopefully some will be looking at that.
Yeah, and the truth is also that people talking to other people they know about voting is the single most important thing in voter turnout.
Now,
much bigger than ads.
Speaking of choirs, Charlotte and I are preaching to the choir right now. Those of you on Sirius XM Progress, most of you engaged, most of you are voting, are about to vote. So what we're saying is what you all should, when we're not on the air, you should be saying to friends and loved ones, coworkers, spread the message about the importance of getting out to vote. And of course, we've all focused a great deal on our friend and brother Andrew Gillum down in Florida. Did a great job once again last night on the debate. I don't know what Ron DeSantis is. I just don't even understand what he's doing. But there's another big race in Florida, and that's for the Attorney General. The Attorney General candidate, the Democratic nominee for Attorney General, joins us now at 1:15. Sean Shaw. Sean, good morning, man. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Just fine. Pleasure to have you. Say hello to Charlotte Alter, who's here with me. Charlotte Alter of Time Magazine.
Hey, Sean.
Good morning. Good morning. How are y'all doing? I like the music. I like the choir. It's all good.
Well, we're trying to keep people motivated and optimistic, man. We got to do it. So tell us about your race. Obviously, Andrew Gillum and Bill Nelson are getting a lot of attention. But what about the AG race? That's pretty important, too.
Well, I tell people I'm the race where you can actually do the stuff, right? I'm the lawyer for the people. And if you want to go after people that are doing wrong, I'm the office you can do it. Whether you want to go after people that are, you heard this in the debate last night a little bit. You want to go after corporate polluters. If you want to sue them and hold them accountable, it's the Attorney General. If you want to go after people that are committing fraud or hurting our elderly, it's the Attorney General. If you want to go after the president because you think he might be doing something wrong, it's the Attorney General. If you want to get involved in immigration, if you don't think it's right for kids to be locked up in cages and wrapped in foil blankets, attorneys general are the offices that can get involved in that. And so I'm the action officer. I get to go after people and hold everybody accountable, and I intend to do it. It's an important race, and it's a close race, and it's a nasty race, just like all the others. They don't give up power without you making sure that you demand it. And so, like you said, you got to get out to vote. And I tell people here, when you're done voting, you're not done. You need to make sure you are getting someone else out to vote. Don't vote and then check the box and think you're done. That's not what kind of election we're in. Yeah. We're in an election to flip the entire cabinet in Florida and to change the future of the state. And we can't do that if you just vote and then pack it in. You got to, after you vote, you got to take some more people to the polls or go to your church and tell people they need to vote. Go to your fraternity meetings, sorority meetings. Make sure you're getting people out to vote that haven't voted before, that might be in your house, like I heard you just say. This is all hands on deck. This isn't going to happen unless we make it happen.
Now, Sean, you all had a debate. Was your debate yesterday too?
My debate was not yesterday. Good gosh, I don't think we could have taken much more because that debate I saw, man. Woo, that was a heck of a debate. Mine was the day before.
Okay, the day before. Now you said it's nasty. People may not know about that. What's nasty about your race? What's going on down there?
Well, I mean, it's Very similar. I'm radical. I am activist. I am just want to go after people for a partisan political agenda. I'm going to use the office to advance my own political leanings, those kind of things. And there's other, there's nasty text messages going around. You know how they're doing. They're playing in Florida here because Andrew and I are on the ballot. We're black. That's no secret. And so there's not outright in your face, but it's subtle and it's dog whistle, and they're sending signals to certain people about what they would want to hear in this race. But look, I've made it clear. The only reason it appears that I'm radical is because we have had an attorney general who's willing to go after people. We've had an attorney general for the last 8-12 years that just kind of acts like they're the general counsel to the Republican Party. So I guess it is radical to have someone up there that's willing to actually do the job.
And what you're talking about, you're speaking of Pam Bondi.
Right.
Now, the Ashley Moody, your current opponent, so she is going to continue the states, and they're involved in a lawsuit against the ACA, correct?
She will do a lot of bad things. One, all these Republican attorneys general around the country have filed a lawsuit to end the Affordable Care Act. Pam Bondi's one of them, which means Florida's a part of that lawsuit. If I'm elected, Florida leaves that lawsuit. If she's elected, Florida will remain in that lawsuit. When we had our debate, we also talked a lot about stand your ground. And my opponent, Ashley Moody, believes stand your ground is working just fine.
Wow.
And that's almost an insult to me because I saw the video of Brother Marquise getting gunned down in a parking lot, gas station parking lot in Clearwater, Florida, and his family doesn't think it's working fine. And so that's something that I'm vehemently against that she supports. And here in Florida, we have Amendment 4, which would automatically restore the rights of nonviolent felons so that they don't have to come on a case-by-case basis and beg for their voting rights. Once you've served your time, completed your sentence, you're nonviolent, you ought to be able to automatically get your voting rights back. That's a second chance. We ought to welcome them back into society. My opponent does not believe in that. So we've got some huge differences of opinion, and this is an important office to enforce those differences of opinion.
Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
So Sean, I was actually just about to ask you about Amendment 4. So how do you think that is playing in Florida? What are the dynamics that's bringing out? Who's for it? Who's against it?
That's a really good question because it's polling well. Even Republicans that are against it are in the extreme minority. The two most prominent Republicans I know against it are DeSantis and Moody, the ones that Andrew and I are running against. Otherwise, there's no real organized opposition against it. But it has to get at least 60% of the votes so it can be an amendment on the Florida Constitution. Right now, I think it's well on its way to getting that. And that's getting voters out there. This is all the reason that Florida is on the table and all these races are possible is like a perfect storm. You've got Andrew on the ballot. You got myself on the ballot. You have Amendment 4 on the ballot. You have Trump stirring up all the stuff that he is stirring up, and it's kind of you had all these gun violent things. You got stand your ground issues happening. You've got Pulse nightclub in Parkland happened in Florida. There's a whole bunch of reasons that people are just upset, and the way that they can do something about it, the way you can always do something about it is to vote, and this is the first election since the president won, and we're going to change some things. That's why people just, whatever reason you need to be animated, we can give you one here in Florida because they all apply. And so I've just never seen the energy like this. I've never seen it on the ground like this, and we just got to bring it home, like Andrew said.
So, Sean, just one more question about Florida, because I'm fascinated by Florida politics because...
Me too.
Yeah, it's fascinating because it's one of the most diverse states in the union. There are a ton of immigrants, but it's also the only state that has a increasing population of white seniors. That's correct, right? Because of people moving down to retire in Florida.
Right.
And so that creates this really interesting dynamic where you have, on the one hand, you have the immigration issue is very big in Florida. You have the Parkland kids who have traveled to every single county in Florida in order to register voters around gun safety. But you also have these communities of older white people who have specifically moved to Florida in order to create this kind of gated community, white paradise for themselves within these retirement communities. So how do you get those people on your side, or do you think that a lot of the retirees in Florida are just kind of a lost cause for Democrats?
That is a very good question, and it brings up the point that a lot of us, when you're running statewide, have to deal with. Florida is like 3 or 4 states.
Right.
So there's North Florida, which is, southern Georgia. It's very kind of, rural. There's Tallahassee up there that's very Democratic, Jacksonville, but other than that, it's not very friendly to us. Then you've got Central Florida, which is Tampa and Orlando, and there's rural counties surrounding those. Then you got South Florida, which is Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, where all the Democrats are. But you have to speak to people's issues no matter who they are. From the Attorney General's race, no one wants to be a victim of elderly abuse or be a scammer that can get all your money and take it. And so that's not a partisan issue. You've got to talk to people and tell them, look, I'm going to protect you no matter who you are. Education isn't a partisan issue. I'm someone that I believe we're not adequately funding public education in this state. And you'll say, well, how's that an Attorney General issue? Well, we have a constitutional amendment here in Florida that requires the legislature to adequately fund public education. Mm-hmm. And if the legislature is not adequately funding public education, then it would be up to the Attorney General to uphold the Florida Constitution. I'm going to do some things like that. And you've got to just speak to people where they are. Young people want to talk about guns. They want to know what you're going to do about it. Healthcare is an issue to a certain segment. All of these issues combined or how you kind of are able to talk to the entire state. But the way you talk up in North Florida may not be the way you talk when you're down in Miami. You've got different issues to talk to people about.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Sean Shaw with us, folks. Just a little time left. Sean, you mentioned stand your ground. What could you do about that as Attorney General?
Look, I'm a member of the legislature now until the November election.
Yeah.
And so when I'm elected Attorney General, first thing I'm going to do is demand the legislature repeal the law. I can't repeal it as Attorney General. The legislature has to do it. But I just want you to imagine Andrew and I, the office that we will hold, demanding the legislature to repeal the law. And that's powerful. Fully pulpit power of the office. Are almost as big as the office.
I'm used to beating up on Democrats. Let's beat up on some Republicans. How we doing?
Oh,
thank you.
You can tell by the way we're campaigning, the way we so we can't be afraid.
Have fun with it.
We were unafraid of the message we have. That's what politics and elections are about. This is where I stand. This is how I intend to govern. If you like it, vote for me. If you don't, I'm not going to hide it. That's what elections are about. But we're transparent. We were aggressive. And our progressive message is we gave people something to vote for. And one of those things is to repeal stand your ground. It's not okay what happened on that video. It ought not be the law of the state of Florida. And any Floridian ought not be okay with what they say. We're going to say.
I'm asking you to support Sean Shaw down in Florida when you go to vote. Sean, you need some money?
Oh, I need a lot of money, bro.
Tell people how they can send you some money, Sean.
www.seanshaw.com, SEANSHAW.com. You can give online. We would be honored to have that. I mean, this last 13, 12 days of the election are going to be about as nasty as it gets here in Florida in particular.
Yeah.
And we just need enough money to fight back against what they're throwing at us. And we got the people's energy down here to carry us across the line. I feel very good about it. We just got to keep working hard.
Keep it up. Keep it up, brother, okay? Good luck to you.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Pleasure
Sean.
to meet you, Sean. Take care now. Charlotte Alter Time Magazine. In about an hour, she'll be on Radio Andy with her family, Alter Family Politics. Closing thoughts.
I mean,
and thank you for being here, too.
Oh, no. Thanks so much for having me. He seems like a really exciting candidate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really exciting stuff happening in Florida. Andrew Gillum's race. If you're not watching it, you should be. There's Florida. First of all, I'm old enough to remember 6 months ago the Parkland kids.
Right.
Everyone was like, "Is it going to matter?" looks like it's mattering.
Yeah, no question about it. Radio Andy, folks, see Charlotte Alter. Isn't she wonderful? So glad she could come in this
Thanks for
morning.
having me,
It's
Mark.
such an honor to have her. All right, folks, stay here for continuing coverage also of all the news of the day and all of this scary news, too. We got to tone it down, folks. All right, if all minds are clear, it has been made plain.
Yes, of us.